Sollar Village SDG is a UK-based community interest company which promotes sustainable development in rural Sri Lanka whilst promoting renewable energy. Our work aligns with the UN's 6 key transitions that can have multiplier effects across the 17 SDGs. We support livelihoods through solar power, support education with access to IT for underprivileged schoolchildren, and female empowerment. We also promote a clean environment as a part of our sustainable developmental work.
What is a solar village?
In Sri Lanka, there are so many villages. So I was thinking how to use solar energy to develop these people, reduce poverty, and also climate action. So in this project, we empower a given selected community. We don't give things freely to people. So what we do is we select about 1 or 2 or 3 cluster of villages, about 1,000 inhabitants in it, and then look at their issues and select the solar solution.
What is the solar solution?
First of all, we find a wealth creation method for them.
A shift in attitudes, but how do we achieve that is the next question. Since its formation in November 2024, Sollar Village SDG has been continuing the excellent work of Emeritus Professor Dharmadasa and his supporters by establishing partnerships and collaborations to set up more solar villages.
We've organised fundraisers, held online discussions and debates, made presentations, and written numerous articles to raise public awareness.
I is the Chief Customer Officer of Dialogue Axiata Sri Lanka, Nadi Gunaratna. She's founding director at Beyond Childhood International, founding director of Towards Responsive, former secretary, head of programs at Lawyers for Human Rights and Development. Also very privileged to have Rashni Veeratna, who's the editor of The Sun and the Daily Mirror, the weekday supplement of the Daily Mirror newspaper, and editor of the weekend online Daily Mirror. We're also delighted to be joined by Thana Sivasambu, who's a founder of Rusi Foods and treasurer of the UK Chamber of Commerce and a director there.
Building for girls and women that to overcome most of the challenges. When you have the vision, you don't see the challenges.
I think one of the best moments for me was when I started receiving mail from young girls in Trincomalee, Jaffna, Ampara, all over the country saying, how they were so inspired by reading, Sandra's story or Kasturi's story or, Sulochana's story or, they start writing to you saying, I didn't want to, my parents wanted me to go work in a garment factory, but I want to start my own business.
But the first fundamental question is, do we need more women in labor for forced participation? Yes, we do. And it's just an economic imperative. It's not a nice to have thing. It's just that the country, if it is to prosper, the citizens have to be economically active. And when you have 52% of citizens being females, it's a logical way of, you need to make sure that they are adding towards the economy on unpaid jobs, right?
Our work involves raising awareness about the importance of renewable energy to mitigate the damaging effects of climate change.
We also seek to promote the UN Sustainable Development Goals in underserved parts of Sri Lanka by supporting livelihoods, education, and female empowerment.
Energy security, energy sovereignty, and independence are perhaps the most important of issues for a nation like Sri Lanka after food and water. To discuss this important topic of energy, we brought together an exceptional group of experts. Firstly, we're honoured to welcome Emeritus Professor Dharmadasa, who is Professor at Sheffield Hallam University with 5 decades of university lecturing and 4 decades of active research experience. He's an engineering scientist who served in the DTI UK and European Commission's renewable energy panels. He's been the main assessor for a green hydrogen project in Germany and advisor to the Chilean government's renewable energy projects over the last 6 years, and he's also the chair of Sollar Village SDG. Next, we have Professor Wijendra Bandara, who's chair of the Sri Lanka Sustainable Energy Authority and professor of physics at the University of Paradena. And finally, we've got Professor Janaka Ekanayaka, who's our third speaker. He's a senior professor and chair of electrical and electronic engineering at the University of Paradena, Sri Lanka. He's also a visiting professor at the Energy Institute at Cardiff University. He has served in advisory roles, most recently as Deputy Chairman of the Public Utilities Commission of Sri Lanka, chairman of expert committee to identify strategies and devise ways forward to achieve renewable energy targets of the government of Sri Lanka, Ministry of Power and Energy.
Sri Lanka is blessed with a technology mix. These are the technologies we can use at the present moment. Hydro, large hydro and mini hydro, and biomasses. This includes energy from waste, dendro project and biogas, and solar and wind. These are the renewable energy. And then we are using coal, oil and gas. So these are the imported, expensive and polluting. So we have two, renewables plus imported fossils. And if you look at wave and tidal, they are also renewables, but they are not ready yet for Sri Lanka. Other energy technologies like nuclear and geothermal, they are expensive and also they have inherent dangers. So what we really need to do is to increase the renewables and gradually decrease the fossil fuels. That is what we need to do in the future. And the solution is coming from green hydrogen in the future. The green hydrogen is the hydrogen gas produced by splitting water using renewable energy. Sri Lanka has a renewable energy potential of over 200 gigawatts. This figure changes with the source of information, but it is very, very large. That is the message. Current power production in Sri Lanka is less than 5 gigawatts. Hence, install renewable energy rapidly. What we need to do is install renewable energy rapidly, produce green hydrogen and become an energy exporting country instead of energy importing country. Sri Lanka is sitting on a gold mine.
We already discussed that the peak power demand of the country is less than 3,000 megawatt.
So I believe that we need to first add central energy storage, whether it's batteries or hydrogen with fuel cells or pump hydros.
Is the problem that the infrastructure hasn't had the investment it needs to support that, to cope with the small prosumer? Because that's what we got from the April 2025 press release from the CEB.
Okay, so I think there are multiple aspects to this. One of the limitations that we have for small renewable energy growth is the limitation in our distribution systems, right? So this requires infrastructure.
We need your support to increase our networks, accelerate the uptake of the Solar Village concept, and to illuminate rural Sri Lanka.
I went back to the university in 1990. My job had three components: lecturing, solar energy research, and public awareness work. So because of this public awareness work, I established a higher education link program funded by the DFID and managed by the British Council, and I coordinated it. And as a result, we developed Solar Village and Solar Asia Conference Series.
Work with us to make a lasting difference to struggling communities in every corner of the island.
Please join us, support us, and collaborate with us to expand this social development project.
Sollar Village SDG is constantly on the lookout to support and collaborate with like-minded individuals and organizations. For instance, the University of Moratuwa researchers have conducted the following studies, and we are looking to support similar projects which align with our ethos. The project, Empowering the Handloom Artistry in Sri Lanka, explored the niche handloom sector by engaging artisans from 5 provinces, representing diverse, multicultural communities. The resulting fashion collection united communities from a variety of cultural backgrounds, with each outfit featuring textiles crafted by several artisans. The study further examined opportunities for digitalization to expand global visibility and accessibility of Sri Lankan handloom craftsmanship. The Fashion Graveyard to Green study explored Sri Lanka's post-consumer apparel discard landscape through research conducted at the Pathirana Mihisaru Resource Management Center in Colombo. Using garments recovered from the brink of being incinerated for thermal power generation, the project developed an entire fashion line. The outcomes demonstrate how creative reimagining can restore value to discarded apparel and significantly extend their life cycle. Sollar Village SDG very much hopes to support the work of these researchers as both projects align well with our ethos.